Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
And I'm Devin.
And what is this video, Devin?
This video is
I like how you smirked. You're like, oh boy.
I just assume, I don't know what your list is, but I just assume we're going to get flack for this.
Oh, we're going to get flack.
So, this video is the top 10 games in the BGG 100 that you don't think should be there. May not be that smooth, or maybe smoother in the title.
I'm going to slightly adjust that
Oh,
title.
you're going to adjust it?
Yeah, because I think nuance matters. Top 10 games in the BGG 100, the BGG Top 100, you would take out. The top 10 games we would take out.
That we personally would take out. I think that's much better. Yeah,
don't think should be there. I mean, we're going to get flack as it is. Let's not take this too long. And just so everyone's nice and clear, can you tell me whose idea this was?
Yours.
No, Devin. I'm including a screenshot of the email exchange in the thread here.
It was just a WhatsApp chat. It wasn't an email thread.
Well, I'll include a screenshot of the WhatsApp chat. I don't care.
I don't know why I'm pointing you to the evidence.
I want to be very, very clear that this was not my idea. This is Devin's idea. You can head on over to his...
Yeah.
Hey, you can head
just
on over
in case you screenshot it out, you said, ooh, spicy.
You can head on over to his channel, Devin Talks Tabletop, to throw the hate his way. I'll throw a link down below. You can subscribe and follow for the...
Just a deluge. Vitriol.
See, practically speaking, the problem is there is no way to ever have a video where you say, that really popular game, we don't like it, and have the video go well.
It's not going to go well.
For clarity, what I will say is there's a few things going on here. First of all, is I eliminated anything that I had not played.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I only picked games I played.
Which I don't always do for these lists.
Oh.
Like, I have done videos where I'm like, the top 10 worst games in your collection. I'm like, this one's so bad I haven't even played it. People don't like that, apparently.
They're like, you can't say that if you haven't played it.
I had a guy who commented on I did a video, top 10 worst games in Quacklope's collection, and one game in that video I hadn't played. And I made it very clear, I'm sorry I haven't played it, I know. And he's like, oh wow, I can't believe that you would ever comment on games you hadn't played. I hate your channel. You know why I'm here? 'Cause Quackalope. And I'm like, you shouldn't watch the video where Quackalope comments on my games, because he didn't play like 5 of them. Anyways, either way, so I limited stuff I had not played, which you did as well. I limited stuff that I couldn't remember well enough. Okay? There were 3 games, Power Grid, Puerto Rico, and Fields of Arle, that I remember as being not that great.
Yeah.
Not bad, just not great.
The distinction there is I didn't have to do that because you've played so many more games than me that you have a depth of, like, history with them. So down below there are some that you don't remember well. I've played few enough that...
No, but all 3 of those are contenders for games that I've played, I've enjoyed. I don't think they're BGG Top 100 material from my personal recollection, but they're all games I played like over 5 years ago, and so I'm not comfortable talking with confidence about how I would take them out of the Top 100. I need to play them again, and then I'll take them out of the Top 100. More hate.
Do it on Quackalope's channel.
Yeah. And then lastly, as far as ranking, I ordered this based on a combination of personal opinion and just the surprise factor, meaning it's a little bit of, I went going from 10 down to 1, with 1 being the, I really don't like this game, but it's a combination of my personal opinion of said game, as well as surprise that others have that opinion of the game. Yeah. I mean, like, there's some games, like a good example of a game that's not in here, Wingspan is not on this list. Do you know why Wingspan's not on this list?
Why?
I think Wingspan's okay. I enjoy it. I had my collection twice. I've enjoyed it. I've played it. I like it. But it's so ridiculously accessible that I totally believe it should be in the top 100. I believe it's such a good, accessible, easy to dive into game. And I think it's a good game. But there are other games that kind of fit that same category that I'm like, it's not the same level as Wingspan, though. So, like, why is it there? So, again, combination of personal opinion of the game.
Fair.
And opinion that it should be in the top 100 for others. There's no way we're not getting hate. I don't understand.
I think we're going to start off with hate and just steadily climb.
Just for the record, before the video continues, if you can go ahead and hit subscribe, when you hit the dislike button, it counts 3 times if you're subscribed. Yeah, the YouTube algorithm registers it as 3 dislikes if you're already subscribed. So please subscribe first, then hit the dislike button.
That's an interesting note.
Yeah.
Seems real.
Yeah. So just for you, not for me.
Do that.
Not for me, for you. Okay. Any other notes before you want to start?
And I mean, my list has some differing elements of everything he said, of where I just don't think it should be as high as it is. I have a personal dislike that maybe doesn't associate with the larger mass appeal, versus also the higher it gets, the more I'm surprised at how high it is on a list. So a lot of different angles that I'm coming at this with.
Great. Do you want to start with your number 10? Because my number 10 is annoying.
I'll start with my number 10. My number 10 logs in at 81 currently. Ooh. And these are all current rankings. And this is Architects of the West Kingdom.
Good choice. Not on my list, but a good choice.
And I say that as someone who enjoys Architects of the West Kingdom. I like that trilogy. I have had all of them. I have gotten rid of Architects of the West Kingdom. I have gotten rid of Viscounts of the West Kingdom. And I've kept Paladins. And my preference with those... Paladins is the best one.
Paladins arguably... I happen to like Architects more than Paladins, but I could hear it both
I think
ways.
Architects is more accessible. I think if you are unfamiliar...
I'll give you that.
I think if you're unfamiliar with Shim Phillips games, don't start with Paladins.
Yeah.
Start with Raiders, and then maybe Architects, and then build your way up. But I like Architects of the West Kingdom a lot, but there are so many other worker placement games that I would intuitively go towards more, and that some of which I find more accessible, some of which I find more like classic and endearing, and I like it, and I understand its value. I don't think that there's enough maybe distinction between Raiders, Architects, and Paladins to maybe have... No, I'm okay with Raiders and Paladins, but Architects, I'm just like, I feel like it's not there.
My problem is Architects has a mechanic that I actually love. I love the mechanic of an escalating strength action. You place a meeple, you place the next meeple, and I take in a stronger action. I love the mechanic, and I don't see it done a lot in games. I believe it's done in Notre Dame from Stefan Feld, which I love it in Notre Dame. I have Notre Dame. For me, Architects is a game that has a mechanic that I love, and again, I'm going to say straight up, I'm wrong. People love this game. I don't care. I'm wrong. Move on. Okay. Hit subscribe. Hit dislike. All the day.
So it's 3.
But I just don't find the rest of the engine around Architects to be compelling. It has this one nice mechanic, and then it's just, for me, feels boring for the rest of it.
And you know what did it for me?
And I've tried, brother. I got it back twice. I've played it like 7 times. I've tried. With the expansion.
The playthrough that kind of did it in for me was the last one we had.
Yep.
Where we did the expansion at 5 players.
Yep.
And it was so bloated.
Yep.
It took like almost 3 hours or something like that. And I know that there was like
Choose the comments down below. I'm like, well, you played it at 5 players with the expansion. That's the one way you're not supposed to. Okay.
Fair point. And I honestly think if I got it back someday and just played it between 2 and 4 with just the base game, it could probably stay in my collection, but I just didn't feel like it should jump into the top 100.
I already got rid of it, and I got it back, and I tried again. And I don't know if I've ever gotten a game back a third time. I do get rid of games.
Interesting.
I do get rid of games sometimes, and then like time goes by.
That should be a video. Is games you have gotten back a second time and then got rid of again.
That's a good idea for a video. If this video gets enough dislikes, we'll do it. Make sure to subscribe so your dislike counts 3 times. My number 10 is obnoxious. Because my number 10 is 12 games.
Wait.
There's no way you're getting this. My number 10 is 12 games. Okay? Ready?
Okay.
You're not getting this. We have Through the Ages, we have Castle of Burgundy, we have Terra Mystica, we have Brass, we have Gloomhaven, Pandemic Legacy Season 2, Pandemic Legacy Season 0, Eclipse, Clank, Agricola Revised Edition, The Crew, and Twilight Imperium.
Those are all... I'm offended. Those are all your 10th?
Those are all my 10.
Oh, you just named all of them?
Yes.
You didn't rank them at all?
No, those my number 10. My number 10 is those 12 games.
Okay, that's what I was... Oh, I said, are those your 10? And you said, those are my 10. Those 12. Like, did you just name all of them?
There's 12 games. And every single last one of those has another title in the top 100. We have Through the Ages, and we have Through the Ages Revised Edition. We have Agricola, we have Agricola Revised Edition. We have The Crew, we have The Crew Mission Deep Sea. We have Clank, we have Clank Legacy.
Is Mission Deep Sea already in there?
Yes, it is. It's climbing slowly. We have the Castle of Burgundy, we have the Castle of Burgundy Revised Edition. We have Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, which are basically the same game. We have Brass and Brass Birmingham. We have Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion. We have Pandemic Legacy Season 0, 1, and 2, all in the top 100. We have Eclipse, and we have Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy, and we have Twilight Imperium 3rd and 4th edition. Let me ask you a question, Devin. If I told you, here are 10 games I was taking out of the top 100, and I said, The Crew, and The Crew Mission Deep Sea is my number 9, wouldn't that be obnoxious?
Yeah.
So how could they all be in the top 100?
I feel like your number 10 is more interesting in a conversation than my entire list.
No, from here it gets boring. The problem is, practically speaking, we said we're going to go through the top 100. And
it was annoying to have like all of the repeats, but I didn't consciously think about that.
We only had 88 games to go for.
Yeah.
Because if we picked one of those repeats, we'd be annoying and obnoxious and not adding value to the conversation.
Yeah.
So, BGG... I don't even care about why or how. You know what Tom Vassell does every year? The Dice Tower? When they do their People's Choice?
What?
Whenever there are duplicates, they just combine them and they call it a day.
Yeah.
Because it's stupid to have Century Spice Road and Century Golem Edition as being 2 entries in the top 100. And they recognize the utility value of a top 100 and how obnoxious it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to me because I feel like, you know, for like Twilight Imperium, for example, 4th edition is categorically better than 3rd edition.
Great.
It streamlines and fixes a bunch of things. And I know that 3rd edition was in there because it is a game that was published and has had all those rankings. Take it out.
Take it out.
Like, have the newest version of the game just be what's in there.
And when you click on it, you can have a little note. This is also associated. They do that. They have re-implemented by.
Yeah, re-implementation.
And the one I debated was Gaia Project and Terra Mystica. That's the only one I debated.
It's enough of a change that you could argue either way.
The rest of them, they're all the
rest
same.
of them are just
They're
within the
revised
same
editions.
universe or same game.
I mean, again, I respect the fact that they're all their own games in different ways. You just don't need all 3. And if I was taking games out of the top 100, that would be my first pick. Those 12 games.
That would think of how much room that gives for new games.
Yeah.
For other games that aren't in there.
Yeah.
Let's take out more.
27 people just changed their dislike to a like because they're like, actually, I can get behind that one.
They're like, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's okay.
But you just lost 3 dislikes per like now.
Oh, that's a shame. It's okay. There's 9
The
more
algorithm
coming.
is just not going to...
There's 9 more coming.
Go your way. All right. My number 9 is something that will surely offend you, which is you.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Which is number 76, which is 7 Wonders.
Yeah, that offends me. That offends me.
Yeah, that offends me.
It's not the best game ever, but it's one of the most accessible good games ever.
Like, I get that, but I think 2 games... and this is another one. I don't think you actually said this.
Yeah.
Did you say 7 Wonders and 7 Wonders Duel?
Those are totally different games.
They are
totally different.
Well,
they play at different player counts. They play totally different. There were other games in here that I kept that I...
Yeah, but this is the better implementation. Duel is.
I don't think so.
Anyways, I'm getting off my point. But I think that 7
I
Wonders...
left in Caverna and Agricola. That I'm fine
You
with.
did. Yeah. I think that's fair. And to me, some of my conversations, and maybe some of yours as well, are going to be... I recognize and, validate the place that 7 Wonders has within the industry to be an accessible game that a lot of people are introduced to maybe modern board games with.
Sure.
I find that what it does is done better by other games in other ways. I would replace 7 Wonders with 7 Wonders Duel to get the actual mechanical or gameplay experience of what 7 Wonders does with the card drafting and all that stuff. And then in terms of the simultaneous play and simultaneous drafting, I would replace it with Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig.
Slap you.
I know you are. But I think both of those do what 7 Wonders does better. And I get why it's in the list. I don't think
To be clear.
it holds up. I don't think it holds up. It is multiplayer solitaire.
To be clear.
You barely even look at what everybody else is doing.
I enjoy Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig. I will burn it in a heartbeat over 7 Wonders Duel. I mean, if you don't...
You mean
look at
over
the-
7 Wonders.
7 Wonders, that's the one.
Thanks for validifying 7 Wonders Duel, by the way.
If you're not looking at what other players are doing in 7 Wonders, first of all, you're playing it wrong. You should always be paying attention to the player who's passing you cards because that affects what's happening. You should always be paying attention to the economy, the military aspect. You should always be paying attention to, especially once the guilds come out and you're literally scoring for how other players score. Have you also, I'm going to be obnoxious now.
I'm going to interrupt that, though, because you said something that to me contradicts the value of 7 Wonders. You said you should be paying attention to all of these things and you should be considering all of that strategy.
Yes.
Typically, the people that I would use 7 Wonders to introduce to, the same thing I would use for Between Two Castles, people who aren't in the hobby frequently, that is not a natural instinct for them to be like, I'm learning a new game. I'm also going to evaluate what everyone else around the table is doing and use that to inform my opinion.
It's like you haven't played 7 Wonders. The player to your left and your right.
You said other people around the
The
table.
left and the right.
Yeah, but that's just 2 people.
Yes.
You can play 7 Wonders with like 7 people.
Yeah, and it makes it nice and accessible and focuses your attention on the left and the right.
Okay, well that's a qualification that wasn't there.
Have you played Leaders, by the way? The Leaders expansion.
I have not.
Okay.
You always talk about that being the one that you need to add.
You know what we're doing this weekend?
We're going to play... You know how many videos you and I have done where we said you know what we're doing this weekend and then we don't make it to playing that game?
In one of them, we literally played the game on camera, so we have...
So we need an outro of 7 Wonders?
No, it's best with more than 2, unfortunately.
Oh, you need 7 Wonders Duel?
It's the same game!
What's your number 9?
My number 9 is not a game I don't think should be there. I guess my number 9 is also obnoxious in a weird way.
We have so many qualifications.
Dominion Intrigue coming in at number 90.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think Dominion is amazing. I think it's fantastic. I think it should be in the top 100. I'm so baffled that Dominion Intrigue is the version that made it.
I was actually looking for Dominion in there when I was like, oh, should I add Dominion? Because I don't know how I feel about that because I've played it a few times.
It's a great game.
And then I saw Dominion Intrigue and I was like, well, I haven't played that, so I was like, I can't speak to that one.
And again, obviously I'm wrong. That's the whole video. I could just keep saying that. I'm going to have a little ticker on the bottom going, obviously I'm wrong. I should do that.
Just a news ticker.
But Dominion Intrigue is possibly one of the lowest down in terms of the Dominions I would recommend. I would start you with base Dominion.
So is it standalone?
It's standalone. It is standalone, which is why I kind of hear how it's be the next one. But I'd start with Dominion, and then I'd recommend a dozen other Dominion games before Dominion Intrigue. I don't dislike Dominion Intrigue, but it's one of my least favorite from all the Dominions and expansions. I don't know how it's the one that made it over Dominion. People, I guess. Obviously, I'm wrong. Your turn.
Use robots, maybe? Just not people. Number 8 for me ranks in at 62.
Yep.
And it is Azul. I think that similar for Seven Wonders, but a little bit different. But some of the same critique is that I think Azul is a modern classic. I think it's a massively accessible game for people that are new to the hobby. I bought it to be able to play with my son, who's 8-year-old, and I'm trying to bring him in because he's interested in playing games with me. It is so simple.
Yeah.
And I don't see it having any amount of depth of play.
You know what we have to play this weekend?
What?
Azul. Add it to the list.
But I just I've played it a few times and I don't feel the need to ever play it again. But I will play it because if Avery or somebody else wants to. But I don't personally derive any level of strategic satisfaction from this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to draft these tiles in a way that doesn't get 2 full horizontal lines finished until I want to finish 2 horizontal lines or until somebody else is about to, and I'm going to try to maximize my tile grab and minimize the amount of stuff. And it doesn't have enough going on that I feel like merits something that I come back to versus other classics that are on this that I would come back to again and again.
So I don't disagree with you in the sense that I almost debated including it because my opinion of the Azul series in general is that the way others enjoy it is not the way I enjoy it. And I think the way others enjoy it is lame.
Lame.
Obviously I'm wrong.
They're lame.
Well, because Azul is a game that is recommended at all player counts. People like it at all player counts. I think it only plays well at 2. Azul is often considered to be not necessarily the best one in the series by many others. I consider it to be the only one worth playing. I haven't played Queen's Garden yet. And the reason for it is because I think many people play Azul the way I suspect you've been playing it, which is trying to optimize your own scoring.
Yeah.
To me, Azul thrives as a game of screwage. And that only works at 2 players.
Yeah, at 2 players, that's the only way it works.
And it's not about what I'm taking. In fact, most of the time I'm taking things that are worse for me because I've just left you 5 tiles that you can't even take. No. Okay? That's where Azul thrives to me as a game, where you're sacrificing the optimal move for yourself because it's about to leave your opposing player with a worse move for them, and they're about to load up the whole cascade with a ton of negative points.
Yeah.
I think Azul can be properly cutthroat and have a lot of intense strategy. And then if I play any of the other ones...
Well, see, now I want to do that next time, but I'd be doing it against my 8-year-old.
Shouldn't be in the top 100. My number 8 is... Again, it's lower on my list. We'll start getting to ones that I actually have problems with. It's actually hard. Once you eliminate 12 games, it's hard to eliminate another 88.
Yeah.
Rising Sun, coming in at number 96.
Oh, man. I still haven't played any of that trilogy, dude.
I think it's a great game. I do.
This weekend.
We'll play all 3.
We'll play all 3 this weekend.
Rising Sun.
But it's your least favorite.
It's of the trilogy, it's my least favorite. And the reason I'm sort of wishy-washy in this one is because I think Rising Sun's a great game. I really do. I think it's amazing. But I am literally offended at the fact that Rurik Dawn of Kiev, Inish, Kemet,
you have been on a Rurik,
Hey, it's a good
wave.
game. It's a good game. Rurik, Inish, Kemet, Cyclades, Chaos in the Old World, I don't think it's on top 100, I could be wrong. All of these other games, there are so many amazing area control games that are lower than Rising Sun. I think Rising Sun is good. I like it.
Is Forbidden Stars in the top 100?
I don't know. It's a terrible game, though. I kid. But yeah, I'm not even going to complain that much. I just don't think Rising Sun should be there comparable to other area control games that I think are amazingly better. The fact that it beats Inish to me, mind blown. But hey, different strokes. Obviously, I'm wrong.
Do you think that the Kickstarter, Eric Lang and Simon wave kind of helps push that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. Yeah. I think it's going to be true for Ankh 2 over time. It'll definitely push it. There definitely was a mass degree of buy-in to these games.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, obviously I'm wrong. Your turn. Your number 7.
My number 7 is at 25.
Nice. Spicy.
And, ooh, spicy.
Ooh, spicy.
It's Viticulture. And I will caveat, I have only played the base game of this. I have not played it with Tuscany.
Doesn't help.
But there are just so many other worker placement games that I enjoy more. Kind of similar to Architects of the West Kingdom. There are ones that like... And part of the Viticulture for me is not necessarily that it's in the top 100. It's that it's so high.
Because it's so good.
If you had never had the Tuscany experience, would you still feel that way about base Viticulture?
I really... and I am a little bit in the minority here. I know a lot of people heavily improve their opinion of Viticulture after playing Tuscany. I'll only ever play it with Tuscany, to be clear. But, like, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this game's so much better. I was like, Viticulture's amazing.
Yeah.
Viticulture's still amazing with more stuff, which is always a good thing to me.
Yeah.
But I understand people who aren't fully enthralled with Viticulture, assuming they haven't played it. No, it isn't. I get it.
But, like the one twist I'm going to give that I think, because... I don't want to just like bash,
everything.
Bash everything. But like Stonemaier has another title that I don't necessarily think should be number 25, but that I think does not get the love that it deserves and is a fantastic worker placement game that I would play over Viticulture. And that's it's Euphoria. Nobody talks about that Euphoria game. How long ago have you played it?
A long time ago.
Because it is really satisfying
tunnels,
dice worker placement.
Things.
It's got really satisfying dice worker placement that thematically makes a lot of sense, like the value of the dice and how you play it. And
I would play Euphoria again. My recollection of it was I played it a very long time ago, too long to talk competently about it, and I played it with somebody who had never played a board game before.
Oh, that's going to be obnoxious.
No, it definitely hurt the experience.
Yeah.
Basically, I had a friend who really wanted to play it, and he looped in me, which I play games, and he looped in a friend of his who had never played board games, and it was definitely a little suboptimal because of that association.
Yeah,
but
I think it is like just because of the like magnitude of other titles in the Stonemaier catalog. I think most people don't even know about Euphoria or ever hear about it, and I think it deserves to be loved. And I think how high Viticulture is offended me a little bit.
Let's play it. This weekend.
Number 7. This weekend.
Number 7. Number 7 is...
Obviously, I'm wrong.
My number 7 is one that I'm definitely going to get a lot of hate for. I know because I've put this in a video before and I got a lot of hate for it. Hate's probably a strong... No, it's an accurate word. Underwater Cities, coming in at number 42. Have you played Underwater Cities?
Vladimir Suchi?
That's the one.
I have not played it, but I know that it has a rabid following.
It does have a rabid following. I know this because I did a video once. Play this, not that. Terraforming Mars or Underwater Cities. People did not like my outcome at all. I think Underwater Cities is fine. And to be clear, I'm not even putting it in like, but Terraforming Mars is better. I'm not even doing that here. I'm saying I thought Underwater Cities was fine. I played it. I played it again because I was like, I must be missing something. I wasn't missing something. It's fine. I think Vladimir Suchi does a lot of fantastic games. Shipyard, speaking of games no one ever talks about, Shipyard is amazing, by the way. Not getting a reprint, sadly. It's what it is. Secondhand market.
Do you have it?
No, I don't have it. I got rid of it a long time ago. It's one of those games I want to get back. Because I had it like when I first got into gaming, and I really enjoyed it. Kept it for like 3 years, and eventually moved on from it because that happens with games. But I do want to get it back. It's a good game.
That's another video you should do. Top 10 games you want back.
Yeah, I should do that one.
Man,
anyways,
I'm just coming up with so many good videos.
Underwater Cities, I think, is a okay game that I don't understand why it has the love it has. I really don't. It doesn't have the benefit of being an accessible game like Wingspan, so like that would be in the top 100 because it's so accessible. Some people will play it. It's a good game that's often compared to Terraforming Mars and the tableau building feeling you get from it, and yet I feel so much more constrained in so many more different ways. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's that to me it's a solid, like using a 10-point scale, it's a solid 7 out of 10. But it's 7 out of 10 with the investment of a game that I would otherwise play Brask or Terraforming Mars or any other Caverna, Feast for Odin. It's falling into those categories. It's demanding a lot from me and giving me a good game. I'd rather play Seven Wonders.
Speaking of Terraforming Mars, my number 6 is 58 Ark Nova.
Okay. I haven't played Ark Nova yet, so I'm okay with this.
And I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Terraforming Mars.
So I assume that means Terraforming Mars is higher up on this list.
I actually, we'll see.
Okay.
No, so, and to be fair, like, my Terraforming Mars experience was with Prelude, with drafting, on the digital version. And I think that's way better than playing it physical. I would never want to play Terraforming Mars physically.
Have you played it physically?
No, I wouldn't want to. I liked playing it digitally because it played so much faster. I was able to get a game in with 1 or 2 people in like an hour. And I very much more preferred that because there's so much aspects of I liked Terraforming Mars. I don't think it should be as high as it is, but I liked it, and I don't. The idea of spending 3 hours doing it versus sitting around a table with somebody and just having like our laptops out, chatting and playing it online, I would much rather play the digital
To be clear,
version.
the ticker just changed to obviously he's wrong.
But going back to Ark Nova at 58, I get the hype. And I've played it now. I played it with Jesse and West. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed, I think, my Terraforming Mars experience. Though, to be fair, I would go back and give Terraforming Mars more chances. If I played with people that enjoy it a lot, I still don't know if I'd want to do it physically unless...
I played it online. Mm-hmm. I don't play it online. I don't think it's a good... I mean, there are people going to disagree with me, that's fine. I don't think it's a good implementation. I don't feel like I'm actually engaged in the experience. I feel it's obnoxious.
I just don't know if I'd feel engaged with
You know why it's faster online? Because everyone wants to be done.
All of that to say, I don't know. I get why Ark Nova has a wave of popularity right now. I get why there's hype behind it. I know that people enjoy it. I think it's a little egregious that in the space of so little time, it's already at the top 50 almost. And I think it could be better than Terraforming Mars for a lot of people. But as someone who thinks Terraforming Mars is good but not great, the fact that this is also as high as it is,
speed is a little intimidating.
The speed is intimidating to me. I'm just like, wow, that jumped, and it jumped so many ones that I love a lot. And so
speaking of intimidating. Wait, it's locked. You locked it.
Did I lock it?
Yeah, you pulled it in. You locked it. Okay, never mind. I was gonna try to lower him. Anyways,
you're number 6.
I mean, I don't disagree with you yet. I haven't played it. Hopefully soon. Then
you'll disagree.
Yeah. My number 6 is one that we've talked about in a manner of speaking. It's Raiders of the North Sea, number 92. I don't love Raiders of the North Sea. I don't understand why it's so compelling.
Is Paladin's going to be on your list too? Is it just going to be a fool?
Hold up. Raiders of the North Sea, I played. I thought it was okay. I got the expansions because I heard the expansions make it better. So I got both expansions. I played with the expansion. I was like, it's still okay. I got rid of it eventually. I got it 4 or 5 plays. Never really again, it's always good. It was always fine. Yeah. No real complaints. And then I got the Raiders of Scythia too. Because I was like, maybe I'll try Raiders of Scythia. Maybe that one's better. Mm. It was equally okay. They all have the same action. You place a worker, you take another worker off. It seems like it should be simple and compelling. It's certainly simple. It's not compelling. I don't know what it is about me. Obviously, I'm wrong. I don't know. Raiders is such a loved title with so many expansions and reprints and all these other versions and ways of doing things, and it's all amazing, and people love it, and I just think it's basically place a worker, take a worker off, trade your things in for points, which honestly, I can make any game sound that stupid, so it's nothing against Raiders. Like Terraforming Mars.
You're so condescending.
Play a card, get some resources, get some points, do that for 3 hours, yay. You can make any game sound stupid if you don't like it, but I think Raiders is fine. It's just not where I want to spend my time. It's not compelling for me, and I know that it gets a lot of love, but unlike Wingspan, I don't even get the mass accessibility of it. I think it's fine.
Alright.
You can go.
Alright.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit that dislike button.
I like Raiders. I get why you don't like it. I fully understand why you don't like it. I like it. It is enjoyable for me. I enjoy the expansions. Raiders of Scythia, I liked that they compressed the expansions into the base game to where it was all one experience in a smaller box, but I just didn't like the art. I like the Miko.
One of the things I can say, when they made Raiders of Scythia, which arguably I like it mechanically better,
I think it does it maybe better.
But I'm nothing against, I think it's Sam McDonald, if I'm not mistaken, is the artist, I think. But his art is good, I do like it. But when the Mitchell I love, and you took away one of the best things about the game to me, I'm actually like Sam's art a lot in Hadrian's Wall.
Hadrian's Wall I don't mind,
correct,
because I'm not comparing it to Raiders, which is one that I prefer visually.
Anyways,
Yeah. All right. My number 5 is one I've talked about before. It's ranked in at number 44 right now, and it is Mansions of Madness. So I've talked about this with Jesse and Shira on a Shelf for Sale before, and I got a little bit of flack for it because I talked about the fact of how me and my wife and a friend of ours in Texas played through the tutorial mission, or the first narrative scenario, 3 times, and we lost all 3 times. And the first time we played and were exploring the mechanics and stuff like that, and the second time we started to go to all the places that we didn't the first time because we, were trying to see if we could optimize or just do better. And then the third time, we ran a speed run. Pretty much the same thing we did for Earth Under Siege.
Sure.
But we ran a optimized speed run where we knew everything and we did and we still lost. And
you sure you played it right? It feels like you played it wrong.
That is what people say. That is what people continue to say. But when I did that, I wasn't new to the hobby then. I've been playing games for a long time. And it's possible I missed something.
Hasn't made a difference other than Coconut.
They're big rule books. But, it's entirely possible that I got something wrong.
I just feel like 3 times through a tutorial feels like a lot.
Yeah. And it feels like a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. And so, I was pretty certain, and I feel like even in the second and third times, we were going back into the rules to, make sure that we were doing it right. And so I know that people have fantastic experiences with this game.
It's a well-loved game.
And I am someone who likes difficult experiences sometimes. I love Bloodborne. I love the kind of game where you have to, grind or develop a level of skill out. I'm not opposed to that in a board game. But an experience where, I'm trying to bring someone in to a game and, yes, it's possible I got it wrong. But if I didn't get it wrong, then there is the potential to lose so much to where it discourages you from going on. It just made it to where I was why? Why would I want to continue going into this? And so I get. Also, I'm.
Was that your issue with Seven Wonders too?
It's so hard. No, but another thing is I have a little bit of Arkham or Cthulhu fatigue. I think it's such a retreaded theme.
Have you played Cthulhu Death May Die?
I haven't, but that's one I'm...
This weekend, Devin!
That one is one that mechanically, and from everybody that I talked to, seems to fix things I didn't like about Mansions of Madness, and also just be an experience that I'm willing to be okay with the theme, because the game itself seems more interesting.
Yeah. Cool. I don't disagree with you. It almost made my cut. It did not. For a reason.
Oh dear.
Okay, number 5 for me is Aeon's End, coming in at 66.
I almost put this one down too.
We have no crossovers yet. Nothing.
Not yet. I think we will.
Whoa. He knows yet. He knows one.
I think we will.
He put Raiders on too. Number 5 is Aeon's End, coming in at 66. And again, like many of these, I think Aeon's End is fine. I also think it is not compelling enough to have the wide accessibility of a game like Wingspan. I think Raiders of the North Sea should be on there above Aeon's End. I think Aeon's End is a little fiddly in what it's doing, in the way you prep these spells and constantly rotating cards, and it feels kind of annoying and frustrating. And it gives you some degree of fun to it, but there's every other deck building game on the planet that I would choose or recommend before it. I enjoy Aeon's End. I played through 6 games of Aeon's End Legacy. It is one of 2 Legacy games that I didn't finish. I usually finish all my Legacy games.
Where is Marvel Champions ranked?
Marvel Champions is amazing. What do you mean?
No, where's it ranked?
Is it in the top 100?
Yeah.
Don't know, don't care.
This
isn't games we're adding to the top 100. This is the games we're taking away from the top 100.
That should be the next video.
Games we're adding to the top 100 is far less spicy.
Yeah, it is.
It's nobody cares. Nobody cares. We just want to know what you hate so we can subscribe and hit dislike.
Ranked at 1600 is one of my favorites.
Honestly, I went to 10 underrated games. Basically, I wouldn't put them all in the top 100. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I think Aeon's End is fine. I just think there's a lot of other deck builders that I think are better, that are more compelling, that are more interesting. I think a big part of my problem is a lot of stuff in it didn't really feel different. A lot of spells, a lot of cards all feel like minor variations of the same thing. Deal 3 damage. Deal 2.5 damage, but this costs card 1 less. Go ahead and gain 1 gem and deal 2 damage. It felt like way too many iterations of the same basic concepts, which again, you could probably say about many games I do like. This is the things we say about games we don't like, though. I think it's fine. I just don't think it's top 100 material.
My number 4...
oh boy.
Ranks in at 26.
What's right below Viticulture? I don't know.
Root.
I'm not offended. I don't agree with you, but I'm not offended.
Yeah, and I I say this, and I this is not... Root is a unique thing for me because I have been actively playing on the digital app numerous times. Like, I've probably played close to 15 times or more at 3-player, at 4-player,
Have you played physically?
1-player. Yes,
Okay.
I sold my physical copy. Have you played physically? I sold my physical copy with all of the expansions that were out up to,
Okay.
you know, the Marauders one that's not here yet. I sold it all because I think this game only works at 4 players.
So I used to think that. Jesse actually proved me wrong.
Did you play with the Clockwork factions?
No.
You just played at 3?
We played it at 3.
Did you use the
played-
Underground Duchy or the Corvid Conspiracy in that 3-player?
We used, for sure, the Underground Duchy. I don't remember if we used the Corvid.
So that is my thing, is that was the expansion I haven't played with as much, and that's the expansion that's
What was your
not
next question? I
currently...
said no to that.
I think that those two are the only potential ones that can help balance out a 3-player game.
Okay.
Because if you don't have that expansion, you have...
We played King of the Hill.
Yes, so that's also from that expansion. So, like, if you don't have that, if you have anything less than 4 players, the Woodland Alliance and the Eyrie are the 2 strongest factions that can steamroll, and there's no other faction other than the other one
So I
to
agree
stop
with
it.
you. Listen, if you're
I have an issue with a game that fixes its player count from anything but 4 by the time the 3rd expansion comes out. They're like, now you can play a 3-player game that's balanced.
I hear
if
you.
you play with the base game, or even with like the 2nd expansion, a 2-player and a 3-player, if
right.
you're not using the Clockwork, it just doesn't work.
I hear you, but I also don't care.
I just, like, I think Root is cool. But we didn't do this as a video because you didn't think it would work, but I'm going to jump into it. Forbidden Stars is a deeply asymmetrical board game that plays 2 to 4, and it works at 2, 3,
Let's
and
make
4.
this simple. Let's make this simple. If you want to see Forbidden Stars versus Root, play this, not that. Make sure to get 1,000 likes on this comment. I know it screws up the algorithm because you're in the middle of subscribe and you hit dislike.
disliking.
But if you can get 1,000 likes, just create new YouTube accounts and subscribe with those. If we get 1,000 likes, he and I will do a play this, not that on Root versus Forbidden Stars.
It's better
it was
asymmetry. It's
Hey,
deeper.
don't tell them the end. Unbelievable.
I have
like
to tell
both.
them some of the end for this.
I like both for context, so it's going to be interesting what I say.
I don't think a game that only fixes one other player count by the time you get to the 3rd expansion should be as high as 26. Maybe it could be in the top 100, but being in the top quarter of it pretty much.
So I assume that Seven Wonders Duel is on your list. That only plays that too.
No, because it's a 2-player game.
Oh, Root's a 4-player game.
No, it isn't. It's listed as 1 to 4.
That's a printing error.
That's a printing error.
No, the reason it doesn't bother me, I don't disagree with you. The reason it doesn't bother me personally is so many games in my collection I view as I will only play it at a certain player count. Inish, it's good with 3. It's so much better with 4 that I only view it as a 4-player game. Now, granted,
That's fair.
I do have the luxury of,
Is
first of all,
Inish in the top 100?
it should be.
There you go. It should be.
Should be.
Should it be over Root at 26?
That's not the conversation we're having, Devin.
That's a conversation. I'm twisting it too.
I do have the luxury of having a lot of games and being someone who looks up the player count. In fact, I did a full video once on the fact that companies should only print on the box what a good player count is, not what an okay player count is, or at least have a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Plays best with 3 and 4. Also, if you want a crappy experience, plays well at 1 and 2. Yeah, print that in the box.
If you want a crappy experience.
That's what they are.
I want to see the customer who actively goes, "Oh, a crappy experience at 1 and 2, great."
Subpar. But I do believe that if you put one... here's what... I think Root's fine in the top 100, but from a marketing standpoint, I agree that putting 1 to 4 players or 2 to 4 players on the box, if it's not good at 2 and 3...
It's disingenuous until you can fix it.
Yes, that I agree with 100%, but that's not the conversation we're having. My number 4 is the highest ranked game on my list, Twilight Struggle at number 13. Have you played Twilight Struggle?
I have.
Do you like it?
No.
I think Twilight Struggle is fine, to be very clear. I think it is. I think it's fine.
No, sorry, dislike is like a strong word. I felt very meh.
I think
Play
it's...
Watergate. just
Play this, not that!
Just play Watergate.
Play this, not that. Twilight Struggle, not Watergate.
Happy to do it.
Let's do it. We'll do it. We're going to do it. Okay,
Just play Watergate.
We're going to do that. So, here's my opinion of Twilight Struggle.
3 hours versus 30 minutes.
3 hours is a quick game. Twilight Struggle can easily turn into a 4-hour game, especially with rules teach. Especially. Not if you play it online. That's a game where the online implementation is a little better. In my opinion. Obviously, I'm wrong. Twilight Struggle is a game where I think it's a fine experience, but I think it's a 3-hour-long game where you mostly just play cards back and forth to have a 4-hour-long tug-of-war experience. You know a better game than that? 1960, The Making of a President, because that's the same exact game in 2 hours. Same good gameplay, but now it's a 2-hour-long experience. Then we got Watergate, which is the same exact thing, but now it's in half an hour.
Yeah.
I think it's an appropriate length. On 1960, by the way, I got rid of Twilight Struggle. I got rid of 1960. I still own and love Watergate. I think a half an hour...
Aren't you thinking about possibly, like, if you play it too much more, you might get rid of it?
Nope. I'm like 15 plays deep easily, and I still love it.
Okay.
Now, I don't pull it off.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different 2-player.
Watergate is fantastic. It is back and forth tug-of-war. I continuously play it. I love it. It gives me all the experience I want out of a tug-of-war experience, and it does so in the appropriate length for a tug-of-war experience, which is, by the way, half an hour. I don't understand why Twilight Struggle is not only in the top 100, at one point was the #1 game on BoardGameGeek, has a wide mass appeal that baffles my mind. Like, how is it #1? Not how is it good?
When I got into reviewing like 3 years ago or whatever, it was #2 still.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Gloomhaven had beaten it.
Gloomhaven, Pandemic Legacy beat it first. We had Twilight Struggle, then Pandemic Legacy, then Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... Listen, obviously I'm wrong.
Obviously I'm wrong. Okay, that was your number 4. My number 3 is ranked in at 23, and it is Wingspan.
I'm not even going to disagree. I just think it's a good game. Just not for me.
I think it's a good game.
Yeah.
And I probably feel against this for the same reason you feel against Raiders.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad game. And I understand how it's been an ambassador for the hobby.
That's why I left it in.
It's massively influential as an ambassador for the hobby. It's the kind of game that people would not instinctively go, I will play something that is that mechanically complex compared to what I'm used to in terms of board games. Mm-hmm. But they play because it's beautiful, because it's on the shelves everywhere, and because people categorically like it.
Yep.
I am not convinced by its gameplay personally, and I feel that it is, again, like, Root and other ones, it's a little high for me compared to like how I personally experience it. I think that it's an engine building game where you don't always get to fully invest in your engine because it's pretty short. Like, by the time you hit the 7th round, you don't care what you've built. You care how many eggs you can stuff on cards.
Lay eggs.
Which is like, I know you did a play this, not that, on Everdell.
Everdell versus Wingspan.
Everdell, to me, has a full arc of satisfaction and completion and player experience over the course of the game. There's no point at which I'm like, I'm not going to continue to invest and play off of what I'm building because you want to the whole game.
Yeah.
But Wingspan, it gets to a point where I'm like, oh, okay.
Now it's time to end the game.
Yeah, it's the game's coming to an end. I'm going to try to, grab as much as I can. So there are a few things that mechanically just don't interest me a lot. And I have a good experience with it, and I don't own it, but if somebody else asked to play, I would. But
I think it's
never one
game.
I'm asking to play,
Correct.
and I'm a little like, it's too high for me.
The line at which I got rid of it for the second time, I got rid of it the first time,
Same
got
thing
it back.
with Seven Wonders.
Yeah. The line at which point I got rid of, just when I started to like you. The line at which I got rid of Wingspan for the second time was when I realized I wasn't asking to play it, and the people in my game group weren't asking to play it.
Yeah.
And so while I enjoy Wingspan, I genuinely do, I think it's a fun game, when a game's not being asked to play by either me or others, it has to eventually leave my collection. But the only reason I left it in, the only reason it's not on my list, is it is such a huge ambassador for the hobby.
It is.
I can't in good conscience take it out.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. My number 3. My number 3 is number 45 in the top 100. It's
right
Pax
after Mansions of Madness.
Pamir 2nd edition.
That came in relatively recently, like in the last few years.
Yep.
I have that one coming with John Company.
Yep. Do you know what you should play instead of Pax Pamir 2nd edition?
What?
Innovation.
The card game?
Yeah.
I bought that
I
because
know.
Thinker Themer taught it to me when you left. You remember that one time when you left Gamma and you didn't spend time with us?
You missed it. On Twitter, there's a picture of us playing, and Board Game Coffee, like Amy Maggie posted the picture, whatever, and Board Game Coffee posted, "It's such a shame Alex is no longer with us." I'm not dead. I don't know if it's intentional or a side effect. You made it sound like I died, Mark.
Come on, Mark.
Anyways, so Innovation is a fantastic game that has reasons why I have complaints. Pax Pamir is a game that takes all those complaints and magnifies them 100-fold. Have you ever played Pax Pamir?
It's dense. I know it's
Have you played it?
I haven't. I got it and John company because I wanted to explore them.
So here's my problem with Pax Pamir, and my problem with Innovation, and my problem with Glory to Rome, and my problem with a lot of other games, whereas though, again, I think Glory to Rome and Innovation are better because of what
Do you have Glory to Rome?
No, I don't. I like Innovation. It's my favorite one from those.
That's good to know.
Basically, it's a general problem I have with a lot of games, which is sometimes if you give me enough information on the table that I could hypothetically find, the question is, will I take the time to find it?
Yeah.
If you have a tableau of 12 cards in front of you, if the cards up there are like densely populated with information and there's like 15 of them that I need to look at every single card to see what every single card does, sometimes in a game you give me an option on the table of how much information do I want to seek out because you gave it to me. You didn't have it hidden. Have you played Evolution?
No.
Dinosaur game? Okay, so you played Innovation, right?
Yes.
So you know in Innovation...
Anything that Maggie taught me
Shut up.
when you left.
Shut up, Devin. In Innovation, you know how like your opponent has cards in front of them? And all the things their cards do matter? How much do you actually know all their cards at any given time?
Like 50%.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That works. And it works for Innovation.
But it's a short game.
Imagine a 2-hour...
And it's the same thing for them. They don't always pay
Correct.
attention to what you're doing. And you're going to like mess with each other.
So Pax Pamir has that, but with a heavier experience.
Yeah.
And I have a choice. I can either play Pax Pamir sub-optimally and have fun, or I could play Pax Pamir optimally and not have fun. I don't like both of those options for a 2-hour-long, heavier strategy game.
That's super fair. Super fair.
And again, I don't know why it's so accessible, because it's not. It's a heavier game. I have those complaints against it. I understand people love it. Obviously, I'm wrong.
Obviously, I'm wrong.
Go ahead, Devin.
My number 2 is the highest ranked one on the list.
Ooh.
At number 10.
So Terraform Mars did not make the cut.
It did not. It's a good game, and I had other things that bothered me more. Number 10, Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization, which I know you love. Just go play Civilization on your computer. Oh my god, why would you play this game? You know what's crazy is my first experience with this game was the digital version of this game, which, if you think about that, is a digital adaptation of a board game that is a board game adaptation of pretty much Civilization, which is absurd. Just go play Civilization. Don't play this game. Don't play this game. Just go play Civilization. Any computer can run Civilization at this point. You don't even need the new one. Just play an older one and play that. Play Age of Empires. Play Age of Empires. Play Total War Rome. Play any of those Civilization games. Just don't play this one. Oh my god. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Is this how all of you feel for the rest of these games? Because if so, I apologize for this entire video.
Don't do it. I knew that would upset you. I wanted one that would get to you a little bit. I know how much you love this one. How high was it ranked this year?
I'm legit cheering.
How high was it ranked this year?
I don't remember. I have to check.
Was it top 20?
It might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Here's why I wouldn't actually be that offended about like other aspects. It is a long game. It's a game that I play.
So long.
I tend to play the app like 3 or 4 times a year, and I tend to play the physical game like once or twice a year. Like this year I played a little bit more because I was covering the new expansion, so I got a few more plays in.
Yeah.
But like even then, it's not a game that's stable often because it is a long experience.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, I respect the fact that everyone does this to me or to anyone all the time, which is when someone says they don't like a game that you love, you're like, no, just play with me, or you're playing it wrong, you're doing it the wrong way. This weekend, Evan, we are playing Through the Ages. I don't know how you could not think it is a masterpiece of game design. Not just game design, game fun.
Yeah.
Because I can recognize good game design while thinking it's a terrible game for me to play. But, wow.
I think he's a fantastic designer.
I'm not talking about him. I don't
really
care
do.
about him. I'm talking about the game. Unbelievable.
I will also clarify that this was like 3 years ago. 2.5 years ago. So, maybe I changed my mind. Have you matured? No, I've devolved. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is a game that I will get possibly the most hate for on this list. Possibly. Not because it's the highest rank, because I think that my experience has been very different from others. And I respect that, and I'm sorry. Obviously, I'm wrong. My number 2 is number 29 on BoardGameGeek. It is Clank Legacy. Keep in mind, I've taken out Clank twice now. First as part of my 12 games.
You took out all of it. You're just like, get rid of all
regular Clank out of my 12 games, and then Clank Legacy out of my
out of the
actual
2 of those, I'd keep Clank.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed. I
haven't even played Legacy, but I'd still, without having played it, I'd pick Clank.
As a starting baseline, I think Clank is a fine experience. I do not love Clank, understand that going in. People like Clank a lot. I think Clank is fine. I'm happy to play it. I don't own it. I don't need to own it. I have other games that I like better that have deck building with a board and all that. But I do think Clank is good. I don't think it's great. Understand that context. Clank Legacy to me started off fun because all Legacy games to me add a layer of intrigue to a game. There's a degree of exploration, there's a degree of innovation, there's building, there's other things going on. To me, Legacy enhances a game. And yet I'd rather play regular Clank than Clank Legacy because Clank Legacy, I'm going to give context in a second, give me a sec. Clank Legacy to me was frequently interrupted during the game with constant stickering. We got to a point where we realized we were playing a game for an hour and stickering for 20 minutes in between the gameplay. Not in between the games. In between the gameplay. It'd be like, okay, pause. We just explored a new section of the map. Everyone go ahead and put your stickers down and do this and do that.
Oh, that's annoying.
They took a game that I was liking but not loving. I was enjoying the experience, and then it interrupted the experience. It felt like, just... I didn't love it. And I've seen mixed comments because I've talked about this in the past. It's something I bring up frequently, and I'm going to bring it up here again because this is my opinion of the games I'm taking out.
Obviously you're wrong.
Obviously I'm wrong. But I've seen three categories of people who respond to this. The first category of people, which you probably follow, let's be honest, are, Alex, what are you talking about? It's not really that much of an interruption at all. It barely has any impact on the game. You're crazy and you're playing it wrong. Again, I do this with other people. I get it.
You value time too much.
Number two, the second complaint I've seen
not in a bad way.
Yeah, the second complaint I've seen is, Alex, I get it. I had the same experience, but it's a great game and it didn't bother me. And then the third complaint I've seen, or third response, not complaint, is people who are like, yeah, there was too much stickering and it kind of took away. That's the smallest minority of people. It's me and like two friends. But basically,
it's my mom.
It's my mom. I think Clank Legacy is a fine game. I think Clank Legacy gives too much interruption and not enough legacy elements that made the interruption worth it, such that I'd rather just play plain Clank. I'm in the minority. That's my number two.
I don't know what your number one is, but my number one...
We're not going to overlap.
...creates an overlap.
Oh,
we have one crossover.
Raiders.
Nope.
Oh, wait, one second. Okay. We have Not Dominion Intrigue, possibly Rising Sun. Nope. Not Aeon's End. Not Twilight Struggle. Oh, Twilight Struggle.
My number one is ranked at 13 and is Twilight Struggle.
Good choice, Stefan.
I find it so offensive that this game is ranked where it is. I say this from, I can't message, or Vinji, I can't video with you right now, Amber.
It's his wife.
I'll message her after.
Twilight Struggle. You're offended.
Yes. So GMT has some fantastic games. They have very dense games that take a lot of effort to get into. They're very rules heavy. They are the old style of wargaming with like cardboard chits. It's not a type of game for many people, and it's not very accessible. But at the end of the day, it's not those elements that bother me. This ranking, and even the ranking where it was at number 2, feels outdated and not in touch with where the hobby is right now.
Yes.
There are so many games that are better. There's so many games that are more accessible. Like, Watergate is just better. Just play Watergate.
Yeah.
You get the same thing. And I mean... Like, I understand there's an argument for people who really love Twilight Struggle, and they're like, you have to play it a lot, and then you know the cards, and then once you know the cards, the strategy just becomes so much more nuanced and deep. I do not want to play a 3 to 4 hour game 15 times or 10 times to understand it enough or to appreciate it enough to then continue to want to play it. Like, just know. I have too many other games, and there's too many other good games out there. It doesn't even have to be corollary experiences like Watergate to Twilight Struggle.
You can play Gloomhaven.
You
want card combat, intricate decision-making skills that is fun from the first game?
There's just objectively too many games out there, and I am baffled by the fact that this is as high as it is. I think it is. I'm getting flustered. I think it is a holdover from old school board game industry.
Yep.
Like where we were 20 years ago. I feel like that's why this is still lauded or kept up in, where it's at. I do not think it's reflective of the experiences that you could have in board games or other games that do it better. Yeah. I haven't even, when I played that, I even, researched afterwards, and people were like, play 1960. It does it in a faster timeline. And then within like a year of me doing that research, Watergate came out, and I grabbed it. And I was like, why would I ever play Twilight Struggle after this? And so, like, I think there are a lot of games on my list that I'm like, I don't like it as enough. But, like, that incendiary title that I had at the beginning that was like, doesn't deserve to be or shouldn't be.
Based on Twilight Struggle.
This is the one that I'm like, no.
I don't disagree with you. And I think, for the context, I think Twilight Struggle is a good game.
It is.
It's a good game.
It is. Just not.
It's
great.
not 4 hours long good. There's better games to play in that
and
time
not
period.
13 overall.
And not 13 overall good. Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I think it's fine. My number one is not a crossover in the typical sense. In the typical sense. It is a semi-crossover.
Okay.
What could be a semi-crossover from your games?
One of the ones I picked that is a repeat.
It's adjacent to one of the ones you picked.
Adjacent to one of the ones I picked.
Yes.
Dun,
dun, dun. I think he's gonna get it. I trust him. I believe in him. Dun, 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 dun,
is it Paladins?
I thought Paladins might be the one he chose, but no, not Paladins.
Oh wait, Seven Wonders Duel.
No, okay, fine. It is the Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth.
Oh, because of Mansions of Madness?
Mansions of Madness.
Okay, I got you.
I debated picking Mansions of Madness. I chose Seven Wonders Duel. I chose Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth as my number one. For context, that is number 90, I think. 91 on BoardGameGeek. The reason I chose this over Mansions of Madness...
I'm more okay with this. I would have been offended if Paladins was like your number one offense.
Paladins fine.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth, I picked over Mansions for two reasons. We'll get to why I picked it in a second. Both were contenders. But I picked it over Mansions. Reason number one is because I played it significantly more than Mansions. I played Mansions the tutorial, and that's it. I didn't dive further. I didn't feel the need to. With Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth, I don't remember. It's been so long. I wanted to comment. I was like, I don't even know what to say here because I don't remember if I lost or won. But anyways, but I gave hours and hours and hours to Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth, hoping it would pick up or in some way become semi-interesting, like halfway interesting. Nothing. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is that in that time frame I gave it, I enjoyed Mansions more. I thought Mansions was more compelling. Mansions, the real question on the table is why did I keep going to Lord of the Rings and not Mansions? Neither one is. I think it's because
thematically or story-wise.
If I recall correctly, and I could be wrong here, I played Lord of the Rings first and gave it a whole ton of time hoping it would work, and then I tried Mansions
and
because
you're like, I'm not doing this because of what happened last time.
I was like, I'll give it one game. It's better than the other one. Not enough to dive into. I did not find a single compelling thing about Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle Earth that was remotely rewarding. Have you played it?
No, but I was waiting for in what context is this
not
the worst out of the whole list?
Not a single aspect of it was compelling to me. Again,
how far did you go in?
I don't remember. I remember I gave it hours. I don't remember how. I don't remember
what that translated into.
But to me, it was a progression of tap the screen, move here. Do the thing, just rinse and repeat, but, none of the decisions I made felt interesting to me. I don't know, the story was not interesting to me. In general, I am biased against any game that makes me go back and forth between the app and the game. Some games are worth it, but most of them have failed me. So Destiny's the only one that I really am totally fine with the back and forth. And even then, I prefer it not to be back and forth. I'd rather...
Quick question, because it is an app-enabled game, do you think that when an app takes away from the game, that you're more critical of the game
100%.
than if it didn't have the app?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I felt that it made me go back and forth without a compelling reason enough to go back and forth past, hey, we have an app and we're doing our thing. I've played app games that were fine. I just recently played Taboo. But Taboo was I kind of glance at the app when I roll dice, but
Did you buy the new Descent?
No. Oh, the new Descent. The new Descent, yes.
Are you? Oh, it's up there.
Yes, it's up there. Because I'm still willing to try it. Because, again, there are exceptions like Destiny's that have made me realize that it's not the app alone, it's the app in combination.
I wonder
with
if
the
you're
game.
not going to like that one.
I also wonder if I'm not going to like it. I bought it when it was on sale, only to find out a week and a half later.
Sale?
No, I bought it on sale.
Oh, you bought it on a small sale?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's fine.
Dropped by $70 or
it's okay, I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
I think that's a fair point. I think that if you're going to have a big narrative game like that, if you're going to have a scenario-based adventure, especially with an app, it has to hit it at the right balance, or else I imagine it was like what's the term I'm looking for? Essentially just begrudgery, you just have to Okay, here, I've
It
updated,
felt-
now I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, I've updated,
Yes.
now I'm here. And
It
it's
just
like,
felt tedious.
did it
back
feel
and
like
forth.
work?
At no point did I feel like I was making interesting decisions. I felt like I was maintaining the app because they decided to go a halfway route instead of just a full app. I think if it was purely a board game or purely an app, I would have enjoyed it more. I still would have thought it was great, but I would have enjoyed it more. Now again, I must be missing something. This game is well loved by so many people. Look, at least with Mansions, I at least kind of saw the promise. I did see the promise. I was like, it's not enough for me to be compelled, but I thought it was like interesting decisions around how you navigate, what you're doing. I didn't think that what I was doing Lord of the Rings was interesting. It's just me.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily... I think that there might be people like you that stopped partway through. I think there's also a number of people from stuff I've read, though, that went through that and then found the end very anticlimactic and not fulfilling given
Even
the whole
worse.
thing they spent.
Even worse. Because, I mean, I guess that's part of the thingy. Like right now I'm going through another game which has a similar aspect. And I'm expecting it to become interesting as I play. But I'm only like half an hour in. Totally different game, not related to this. But like, there's that aspect. There's an aspect of going through different games, going through different experiences, hoping you hit a certain climactic point that makes the slightly tedious experience more worthwhile because you weren't making interesting enough decisions along the way. That happens in a lot of games. If the payoff is there, that's great. If the payoff is not there, then you go on a video called 10 games I would remove from the BGG Top 100.
Yeah. I want to know if you agree. I want to know which ones you would pick, and I want to know if you are a stalwart defender of one of the titles that we chose. Tell us why we're wrong.
Us, obviously we are.
Because obviously we're wrong.
And don't forget to hit subscribe and dislikes. So you get 3 dislikes
Extra dislike.
If you want to see a play this, not that of Forbidden Stars
versus Forbidden Stars.
Make sure to go ahead and create a second account, subscribe, and hit like. I don't know what I'm doing here. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
And I'm Devin.
And I apologize. But remember, it's his fault. You can find his channel in the description. Make sure to head on over there and let him know what you thought.
Ooh, spicy.